Hi, I'm Taylor Smurl,
And I'm Tommy Smurl.
and this is
Neat.
Well, it's spring. Yes, it's officially spring-ish.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Spring has sprung. Our peach
Spring has
tree is
sprung.
blooming.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Gotta do
We have
something
the
cool with those
red buds.
peaches.
Well, last week the tree was almost down to the ground with peaches, and we were afraid we wouldn't get them this year because just about 3 weeks ago it was down to the ground covered in ice.
Well, you gotta
So-
if you get peaches this year, you gotta make like a cool like peach syrup, peach liqueur, peach.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of peach stuff. Just do all
Peach
stuff.
schnapps.
There you go. Yeah. Well, along with spring, we of course talked about on the podcast rosé wine, its history, how it's made, and a bit of its incredible increase in popularity in the last decade, along with the proliferation of Frose, which I keep thinking it's going to be a trend that goes away, but it still stays every summer. That's the number one thing that everybody wants. So
Rosé will never go away.
Frose all day, all days, forever. An eternity of Frose.
Rosé is here to stay.
Yes.
It's got a good rhyming thing. You can get a lot of slogans going with it.
I mean, I think, well, I was going to say, the point of this video is going to be making Frose, which we're getting to this is like 80-degree day here in New York. So it's a perfect day to make some Frose. Still March, so it doesn't seem right, but I'll take it. But we also wanted to taste some rosé, but Dad, I think you have one of those good rhyming scheme rosés to taste, yeah?
Oh, yes, I have Yes Way Rosé. And while it looks like it would be cheap, it's just something that somebody slapped together, some yahoo from West Virginia. This is actually from France. This is some of them fancy French wines.
And it's like a decent wine. Well, I tried to go super traditional. For my tasting wine, I got a Côte de Provence. It's Barton and Bustier. It's actually one that I used to sell at my restaurant, which is like a really nice, classic, light, very dry rosé, which is how I think that's the style that most people prefer it in. And I think if you're going to order in a restaurant, that's how you want to drink it to go along food.
Now, I have to say, I don't think that this is one of those that when the guy gets it and he sniffs it at the table and all that, and he goes, that was a very good year, because it looks like it was bottled in 2020.
Well,
I know what a shit show 2020 was.
That's actually a fair point. I was going to say, this is 2019. Rosé is generally consumed pretty young. So, you wouldn't, if you found like a 1980 bottle of rosé, it wouldn't be like, yeah, it's wonderful. It's probably bad. So I woun't worry too much about that. But yeah, I don't know. That might be some cursed grapes there that you're about to taste.
There's no telling what's going to happen there, huh?
I did know, this one is one of those glass cork bottles, which these things, they're beautiful for like if you just want to have a really nice bottle to bring to dinner. Having these behind your bar functionally is awful. Opening like 30 of these a day in the height of the summer is a nightmare.
Well, mine has one of them fancy French twist-off caps.
Well, I mean, there's no, we've talked about this on wine episodes in the past, but there's no shame in a twist off. A twist off actually arguably can preserve wine better than a cork. There can be degradation with a cork. So especially for a young wine, no one should judge the quality of wine whether or not it has a twist off.
What about if it's in a box?
Plastic bag, maybe that's a downgrade. That's a downgrade. Yes.
Okay.
I would say
I'll remember that. I had that box for that mulled wine.
Yeah. We're gonna do just a taste test of some sort of more traditional style drier French rosés. All right, so mine is mainly Grenache. It's got a little Syrah, a little Cinsault, but it's very, I think it's dry. It's got a little bit of salinity to it. It's got some nice fresh, fruity, sort of like berry notes. How's yours, Dad? Have you had rosé before? That wasn't white.
I am not a wine drinker.
No.
I have tried to drink wine. I want to like wine. I see people sitting around with their glasses of wine and everyone's merry and happy. And so I said, well, I want to drink wine. I am not a wine drinker. This doesn't do anything for me.
No. As a non-wine drinker, what does it taste like to you?
It's like it's very on the back of my throat. It's like it's very sour as it goes down. That's what it's like. It's like puckers me up or something. I don't even know how to describe it. I think of when they described Jesus on the cross, and to torture him, they would soak the sponge in soured wine and shove it in his mouth.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh well, wow, that's a bad reaction to that rosé. Boy, don't.
It's not just this one. It's all wine. It's not just this one.
Well,
I'm not critiquing this wine. I'm critiquing wine in general for me.
As we talked about on the podcast, rosé can be made from a lot of different grapes, and there are varying flavor profiles that you'll find in rosé. So it's not all one thing. It's its own category, you know, much like saying you can't judge a red wine by one red wine any more than you judge a white wine by one white wine. So rosé is the same. So I wouldn't go as far as to say that you might hate all rosé, but then I guess if that's your experience with any glass of wine, maybe that's just your palate, and that's fine.
Yeah, that's what I say. I don't even think I've had rosé before. I've tried reds and I've tried whites, and that didn't work for me either.
Well, that's fine, because the main point of this video is not a delicate taste test of multiple rosés. That's not what we do here. We make cocktails. So we are going to be making a very simple frosé. Even when we start just with now of course, yeah, as Dad's showing, we're going to make it in a blender. It does start with rosé, but
I'm looking forward to doing something to doctor it up to make it an acceptable drink for me.
Well, and if you're going to be making it, I would actually recommend your frosé will not be better because you spend $20 on a bottle of rosé. I'd say the better rosés to use are a little cheaper and a little sweeter. So I've got this is Dark Horse Rosé. It's from California. I've had it before. It's dry, but it's got a little bit more sweetness, a little bit more like fruitiness than the Côte de Provence, the drier style rosés. Dad, I think you found actually a semi-sweet. Is it a Rosetta or it's Italian?
Yes, it's an Italian one.
Well,
Stella Rosa Rosé.
Yeah, so I wouldn't go as far as to get boxed wine once again, but I think that those like $5 to $8 bottles of rosé for a pitcher of frosé are going to do you fine. It would honestly be a shame to put anything over a $10 price point in a blender for frosé. I'll say that.
All right.
So I'm going to try to we're gonna build this around one bottle of rosé. I've already tasted this one, so I'm missing a little bit, but and hope that it all fits in here. We'll see. So we're gonna put a whole bottle of rosé in our blender. This feels nice.
Rambling Rose.
And then we're gonna do about 2 cups of frozen strawberries. You can just buy fresh strawberries and freeze them, but that frozen is going to help us. It's going to help it so we can use less ice and have more flavor in there. So I would definitely start with something frozen.
Frozen strawberries away.
Now, as we've talked about before, in relation to frozen drinks, we taste less sugar when things are very cold. So this is already there's going to be some sweetness here that's added to our wine from our strawberries, but this is sort of a to-taste thing to put in some simple syrup. I think somewhere between a half cup to a cup should be good. So I don't really like things super sweet. I'm going to go with half cup to kind of eyeball it here. But you can go up to a cup, somewhere between 4 to 8 ounces.
4 to 8 ounces, huh?
I feel like you and your crew like things a little sweeter, so you can maybe go on the high end.
Well, for safety's sake, I'm only going to put in 4 because I'm approaching my limit there. the top of the pitcher.
Oh no! Yeah. I guess I have a bigger pitcher than you. I'm doing all right. So we're going to add a little bit of citrus to this, not really for flavor. Just oh yeah. Well. You might have to blend that twice. You might have to kind of cut it in half and do 2 batches and mix together. That's all going to happen off camera. Don't worry. You all have to see the messy bits.
I might have to mop some of it up off the floor.
Squeeze it back in.
Yeah.
I always recommend a little bit of fresh citrus, not for flavor necessarily, but just it's going to help open up the rest of the flavors on your tongue. So literally the juice of like 1 lemon per bottle. So this is probably about 3-4 ounces of fresh squeezed lemon juice that I'm going to add in.
Well, I'm squeezing one in as we do it.
Nice.
Look at this. Lemon juice produced on demand. All right. I've been juiced.
All right. And the last thing we're going to throw in there is a little bit of vodka. Hey, you can skip this step if you want some lower proof alcohol or you want some lower proof rosé. The only vodka that I have in my house right now, outside of the Polugar, which we talked about before, the bread wine, which I think would not work with this flavor profile, is this Devil Spring 151. So it's this overproof vodka. So I'm going to be very delicate with this. I'm going to use about a 1/4 cup, like maybe 4 ounces. Usually for like per bottle of rosé, I would do a full cup, 8 ounces. So it's up to you, however much you want to add. A 1/4 cup to a 1/2 cup is probably standard.
I have New Amsterdam,
Well, I think
the
you
TV
can add,
show.
like I said, you could add like 4 ounces, probably fine. About a 1/2 cup. All right, and now for me, I've got a little bit of space left. I'm gonna add a little bit of ice. That I think you might end up having to split yours a little bit, blend
Just a
it
little.
in 2 batches. But in either case, we're both gonna have to blend off stream because neither of us have electrical outlets within cord reach. Correct?
Correct.
So,
All right. I'll meet you back here with a blended drink and hopefully not much of a mess.
Hopefully. All right, let's go do it.
It went everywhere. It was too full.
Well, you didn't dump some out first?
No, I just held the lid down tight and tried it and it went.
Well,
But I think it turned out pretty good.
tried it?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. We've got our Frose. I got a fresh strawberry to garnish this with. If you
They're
got one.
slippery bastards.
Okay, one's on the floor now. So there you go. All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Now that's a drink I can drink.
There is that how you can drink or that's how you can drink rosé?
That's right. That's how I can drink rosé. That's a good drink right there. I like that.
You just got to add some citrus, some sweeteners, some strawberries, and some vodka. Basically, add an entire other cocktail around the rosé, and you got a good drink.
Hey, it's mostly rosé though.
That is
I
true.
mean, there's a whole damn bottle in there. I like that. I can see how that'd be a great summer drink or spring sitting out on a hot day.
I will say one of my favorite ways to sort of fancy up some frosé, if you want to experiment with it, if you like it, but you think you want to try something a little bit new, is to add a little dash of either Aperol or Campari on top. It adds just a little bit of complexity, a little bit of bitterness. You know, I think that it's a very sweet, it's a very fruity drink. It could use a little bit of that. So I always ask when I see frosé on a menu, and I do go for it a lot. But if they have the option or don't mind putting a little Aperol or Campari on top, I really love it because it just adds a nice level to it.
All right. Well, I tell you what, it sure dresses up the rosé.
It's a crowd pleaser, and I mean, as far as like, yes, absolutely for like a party drink, you know, it stretches you can buy a cheap bottle of rosé and you can stretch it out pretty well into like a good pitcher of booze without having to buy too much.
There you go. Yeah. And with the vodka in it, it's going to pack a little punch.
Yeah, and then that's, you know, however much you want in there.
A little rosé punch.
Little frosé, little rosé. Look, like I love classic rose. I love super dry, classic, like barely blush pink rosé. I also love frosé with sweetener and strawberries. I like the whole range of rosé.
Well, this will definitely make you blush.
Yes. However you enjoy rosé, I hope that now that spring has sprung, you take advantage of it. If you haven't had it before, there are many ways to enjoy it, many different types. And if you don't like it altogether, hey, make some Frose. It's delicious.
Get some Frose, brose.
Even if you're a brose, you can drink Frose.
That's right.
All right.
I'll allow it.
Well, as always, thank you to Dad for being here.
Well, thank you to Taylor for having me.
Hey. Thank you to our Patreons for supporting us. If you would like to join our Patreon, rewards for January and February are in the mail now. So you should be receiving them soon. And if you join our Patreon, you get coasters and stickers and all sorts of fun stuff coming up. So check that out. If you want to find us on social media, we are Neat Boozecast on Instagram and Twitter. And if you'd like to email us, we are neattheboozecast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook.
We're at Neat the Boozecast or Neat or wherever we're at.
We're say there. It every week to see if maybe you figured out the group name, but you still haven't. So maybe next week. I
still haven't figured it out.
Nope. Who knows? If you're there, you solved a riddle. Good job. It's a reverse escape room.
It keeps the drunks out. See, we don't want the drunks coming in there. This is for people that appreciate drinks, not just people that slam them.
You've had to solve a couple riddles to get there, so good job if you're there. So, but in any case, thank you for following us, supporting us, joining us, however you find us. All right. Well, hey, I have been Taylor Smurl.
And I've been Tommy Smurl.
And this has been
Neat.
You're never going to learn that name, are you?
I'm not sure where to look.
You started the group.
Well, but Mom does all my technical work like that. I don't know how that works.